Now, the 2020 school year has seen a number of challenges due to the coronavirus pandemic. But in the midst of this uncertainty, 7 South African schools have been selected to show off their strengths. Now, this is part of the Global World Education Week to help showcase 100 schools that are pioneering quality education across the globe. Now, the Gerwel Fellowship CEO, Julian Hewitt, joins us of course, via Skype right here in Johannesburg to discuss this and how schools were selected, of course, to participate. Julian, thank you so much for your time. I mean, this is quite amazing, right, to have an opportunity for both public and private schools to be a part of this global showcase where they are showing off quality education in the country. Take me through that.
Sure. Well, we're very excited. So thank you very much for the chance to speak to your listeners today. The World Education Week is actually kicking off today, and it's inaugural year. So this is the very first time that it's happening, and they're expecting it to be the world's largest education event. So this is something quite exceptional in this challenging year that we've just had. And so the idea really is, if you look at UNESCO and their Sustainable Development Goal number 4, there's a really big focus on quality education. And there's the sense that there's a huge imperative on all of us to make sure that we're able to provide high quality education access for learners, to learners from across the globe. And then, of course, in that equation, teachers and schools play such a pivotal role. And, you know, if you just kind of reflect back a few months ago, we literally had 1 billion pupils staying at home. Almost 90% of the schooling systems were closed. And people are really starting to realize and appreciate how fundamental this idea of quality education is. And so an event like the World Education Week is incredibly unique because it's, you know, forcing us to use an online platform. But just like with many of these kind of Skype and Zoom meetings, where we go into people's homes and into their offices, this is a chance to hear from some incredible best practices across a couple of themes, and really see what this looks like in different countries around the world. So as Gerwel Fellowship, we're really excited to be partnering with some incredible schools this week.
How did you select the 7 schools, Julian? Because I can imagine if the process was started off this year during the pandemic, most schools were trying to get accustomed to e-learning, trying to, of course, find balance with this new normal. How did you then select the schools?
Sure. That's a really good question. So let me answer it this way, to say that, first of all, schools from across South Africa had the opportunity to apply directly. And then they were also invited and nominated to apply as well. So there were a large number of schools that showed interest. And then the schools that had to, they were really keen to take part in this opportunity, were then ultimately applying and then being shortlisted and selected by an international panel overseas. So I think one of the things that's really important to mention, and I guess that's what makes this week so interesting, is there were 5 specific themes that the organizers were looking at. So they weren't necessarily looking at the best sporting school or the best academic school. They were looking at themes like what schools have great practices around employability and life skills. What schools are brilliant around how they engage with the community and parents. What schools have something really special to offer around well-being. They're also looking specifically for schools that were excellent in the way they were able to teach and the science of their teaching and learning. And then the last theme was around technology. So it doesn't mean that obviously these are the 7 best schools in South Africa, but it really is just an indication of the fact that these 7 schools representing our country had something really unique to offer, not just South Africa, but also people tuning in from around the world.
So then what's expected to happen once, of course, these schools showcase with the rest of the world? I can imagine part of it surely should be how we can learn from other nations in terms of how they've dealt with their challenges, see if we can consider some of, their innovation, if that would apply in our context.
Yes, absolutely. So, let me just also start by saying the fact that South Africa has 7 schools out of 100 is really something to celebrate. It's an incredibly hopeful message. In terms of our representation, we're third of any country across the globe in this specific World Education Week. So that's a really nice starting point for us in this equation. Each school has an hour-long platform, and they're expecting to get at least 1,000 participants signing up. It's a free process. People can sign up online to the sessions that they're most interested in. And, really, I think at the end of the day, it's almost surprising to see that a lot of schools are going through the same issues as other schools in different parts of the world. And if there's a specific interest or theme that you as a teacher or you as a school or even as a parent are keen on, this is a great chance to pick those schools and countries that you're really interested about to see how are they doing this? How are they really being able to showcase something that's very interesting? And then, of course, what can we do about that back here?
That's amazing. Julian Hewitt, thank you so much for joining us. That's the CEO of the Gerwel Fellowship. The amazing 7 schools will be participating as part of 100, showcasing how South Africa, of course, is pioneering quality education.